Sunday Surefire podcast. I'm your host, the commish. Joining me today is the co-host, Aaron Downtown Brown,
Hey,
and the co-host, Ethan Weaver.
Kamish, how we doing?
We are doing pretty well, boys. We're talking some Thursday night football. Our Under the Lights show, where we talk about the teams that are playing on Thursday night. We give you a quick recap of the game, how we think it's going to go, or preview of the game, I should say, how that's going to go. Then we talk about, spend the bulk of the show talking about DraftKings captains lineups, which are 6-player lineups that feature a salary cap, and you can pick one player that you can nominate as your captain for the game. He costs 1.5 times his normal salary to get him into your captain slot, but he just does score 1.5 times the points for having him in there. And then we also like to talk about one bargain player, someone that you can really cheap out on that can make a difference in your lineup and be the difference between winning no money in a tournament, maybe taking down the whole thing. You never know. But this week's matchup for week 6 features the San Francisco 49ers taking their show on the road to Seattle, a divisional matchup here against the Seahawks. San Fran is currently a 3.5-point favorite. The over-under is 49 points. These are two teams with a lot of very fantasy relevant pieces. Seattle comes in at 3-2, leading the division, and San Fran comes in at 2-3. Little bit of a slow start coming off that Super Bowl loss. A little unexpected on that front, but it's still early in the year. However, this is definitely a big one out in the NFC West. I like the Seahawks here getting 3.5 at home. I don't know if they win outright, but I think they're going to cover the spread. So I'll take them I'll take the points in this game, and the over under here 49 feels about right to me. So I don't really love betting that one way or the other. So in case like that, I got to root for some type of over. So I'll probably just do a conservative over of some kind as part of a parlay. So those are my quick thoughts on the game here. Aaron, we'll go to you first, brother. What do you think about this one? How's it going to pan out on Thursday night?
yeah, it's always an interesting as far as like betting is concerned when the away team is favored by 3.5 points. I mean, usually they gave the whole team home team a 3 point, I guess starting block. So I think they're still kind of favoring this game to be pretty close. Maybe even a 1 point game is kind of what that alludes to. But I'm kind of more on the 49ers side. I really think they may even roll, but like I said, playing in Seattle may change things here and there. But yeah, as far as the point spread goes, 48 points, I'm kind of with you. It's a little bit on the higher side, but I do, just to make it fun. Hey, it's Thursday, it's the only game on. I would love to still bet the over just for fun, but yeah, maybe drop it to like 46. A little bit on the conservative side, but I still like betting overs. So I would say take the over 46, and I like Niners this game.
Who wants to bet on an under anyway? That's no fun. But
Exactly.
Ethan, what do you think about that, and where do you see this game going?
I was gonna say the same thing. Nobody likes to bet the under, but no, I agree with Aaron. I think the 49ers take this one. They're 2-3. They're reeling a little bit. They need a win, and I think I'd actually take San Francisco minus 3.5. I think they take care of business. Seattle just lost to the New York Giants, who are actually playing pretty decent. I always said I don't think Danny Dimes is as bad as people think he is, and he's playing pretty good football right now. But I do think the Niners. I mean, they have so much talent. They're, I think, going to figure it out, and they're going to beat Seattle in Seattle. So I would take Niners minus 3.5, and I'll take the over.
Something's got to give there. I mean, the hook's on there, so someone's going to be right, someone's going to be wrong. Vegas is going to make money either way, regardless. So these division games are close, so we'll see how that pans out. But let's get into the captains lineups here. Who you sitting as your captain in these the DFS contest, Aaron?
Yeah, I'll definitely kick it off here. And for my captain, I'll pay up a little bit. I'm going 14,000. And I'm actually going Brock Purdy in this game. Yeah, I'm actually going Purdy as my captain. And, for a couple of reasons, I guess for one is I don't really want to play the guessing game of who's going to blow up with the 49ers. So if I get a piece of Brock Purdy kind of throwing it over the yard, if it's Jawan Jennings, if it's Debo, if it's Ayuk, whoever it is, at least I get the 1.5 points from Purdy there. And I guess along those same terms, we know the Niners have many weapons, so I like that. But in this particular matchup, Seattle's just really like a middle of the road pass rush. So I kind of on this game I kind of decided kind of look in that a little bit deeper. And Purdy happens to have the longest time to throw in the pocket in the entire league. So he's got time to throw. That means he can find his weapons. He actually has 9 big time throws when he's at his average or more, which actually leads the league as well. So I think he's going to have some big plays. The other cool thing about Purdy this year is, yes, he's got the time to throw, but when nobody's open, he takes off and scrambles as well. We're seeing that this year too. So I'm not sure if you guys are aware. You may be if you have Purdy in your leagues, but he only has 52 yards less rushing than Josh Allen this year. So I kind of like I said, I kind of like. I think when I'm watching the game, I'm gonna like that. Hey, Purdy's gonna sit back and either throw a bomb or take off and give me some rushing points. So Purdy's my captain this week.
Purdy's playing well this year. I know the record's not good, but he's like doing what he can to keep that team afloat. And I know he gets a rap for being a game manager because he was drafted on a good team, and people just expect him to apologize for that. But if you actually watch the kid play, like he's actually doing what he can to keep his team in most of these games. I know he was inefficient passing last week, but I think he's a good player and doesn't get enough recognition for what he does out there. Ethan, what do you think about him and the captain slot this week?
No, 100%. I think Purdy makes so many plays with his feet without actually running, just kind of scrambling, getting outside the pocket, making plays with his legs. Always keeping his eyes downfield. I think Purdy's a great player, and I think he's due for kind of a blow up spot in fantasy. I love the thought process in which, hey, there's so many fantasy relevant players in this game on both sides. So why not take one of the guys distributing the ball to everybody, right? Brock Purdy. I do think the Niners are going to win this game. I think the Niners are going to do well offensively. So I would lean to take Brock Purdy over Geno Smith. So I definitely like the Brock Purdy call as the captain in that regard. I was close to picking Brock Purdy because I kind of had the same issue. It's like, hey, there's so many guys to choose from. I mean, hey, what matchups are the best? Sometimes it's easiest just to take the quarterback.
Yep, 100% follow the logic on that. Uh, don't hate that at all as a call out. But Ethan, did you go with Purdy as your captain too, or did you pivot elsewhere?
I pivoted elsewhere to save a little bit of money. Purdy is in my lineup, but I went with one of his pass catchers. I went with George Kittle at 11,100. The Seattle Seahawks aren't great against the tight end position, 21st. And Theo Johnson of the Giants just had a decent day, 5 for 48. Hunter Henry of the Patriots went 8 for 109 against these guys. I do think there's opportunity in the middle of the field with Debo and Kittle. Ayuk is going to have a little bit of, I think, of trouble with Devon Witherspoon out there, cornerback from Seattle. So I think it's going to be more of a Debo kind of Kittle game. And I think Kittle can take advantage just like our Hunter Henry, our Patriots did. Obviously, the 49ers have a lot more weapons than the Patriots, and the Niners ended up taking Hunter Henry out in the second half out of that game. But you really can't do that with George Kittle because you have Ayuk, Debo Samuel, Jordan Mason running the rock. So I went with what I thought was the best matchup on the field for Brock Purdy, and which is why I went with George Kittle.
I like it, especially if you're playing in a tournament where you kind of have to pick the guy who's going to go off. I think Purdy almost might be too safe if you're in a tournament because a lot of people are going to have kind of the same thought process. So if you're taking a shot on somebody, it's probably going to be George Kittle because he is coming out. He's been banged up. He's always banged up. Seems like every year, but he's banged up this year. He's probably not quite on as many people's radar as he normally would be. So I like that call, fitting Kittle into your lineup this week.
Yeah, I like Kittle. I like Kittle as well. I mean, obviously, if I have Purdy, I'm kind of like Kittle too. And I think, yeah, I think it kind of goes back to Seattle's rush. Like, they're not going to really pressure Purdy, or at least statistically, it doesn't show they are. So I think Kittle has a way to kind of get behind the defense at times and get some of those huge plays that can be 30, 40-yard bombs as well. So I definitely don't hate that.
I'm going a little bit different direction on my captain here. You guys went with the 49ers. I'm going with the Seattle Seahawks. I'm going Kenneth Walker, expensive, $14,700 to put him in that spot. I just and then sometimes I think the NFL water kind of just finds its level and things even out to where they're supposed to be from week to week. Last week, Seattle, for whatever reason, got away from the running game and it really cost them. Walker and Charbonnet last week, guys, combined for just 7 carries on the day total. And it's not like this game was out of hand for the entirety of it. They were down some point 10 points in the fourth quarter, but for this was a one-score game for a while, and then the Giants put it away at the very end with a blocked field goal that would have sent it to overtime to make it a 9-point win last week. So I think they kind of just get together here on a short week. They simplify the game plan. The ball goes through Kenneth Walker, and who we know is a home run threat every time he touches the ball. And I think he hits at least one big play in this game. And if he does that, he's gonna pay off for you. And I think DraftKings kind of agrees with me here. If you look at his touchdown prop, he's minus 125 to score a touchdown. The second, I guess, safest odds of anyone on this slate to find pay dirt in this matchup here. So I went with Ken Walker again, 14,700.
I like the Walker call. I don't understand why you wouldn't give him or Charbonnet the rock last week. I mean, just watching Kenneth Walker this season, he's just so explosive. He can get you those chunk plays by himself. So it's not like you have to go away from him. They weren't. It's not like they were trailing by multiple scores the entire game. So it makes no sense. I mean, Kenneth Walker is an animal, and he can score from any point in the field. So I like that call. I think. Kenneth Walker is going to do well against the Niners, and I think Charbonnet could be a sneaky cheap play as well. So I think attacking the Seattle running game is going to pay off for you.
I hope so. Let's give my captain slot here, but we all went at least relatively expensive captain. So we got to save some money somewhere, boys. Just a nature of these daily contests for Thursday Night Football that we like to put out there. So, Aaron, who are you cheaping out on here in this bargain section?
Yeah, I mean, I'm going with, I mean, I kind of had to go at least get one cheap guy in my lineup, going Brock Purdy as my captain and going with one of my boys. I think Oliver boy, but he's not really having the season we're totally hoping for. But he was my sleeper candidate this year. It's Noah Fant, 3,000. And I'm kind of just gravitating towards this game flow of this game. Like I said, I think 49ers can put up a lot of points. So however, I do agree that I think they need to give Walker the ball. I think if they go back to, using that against Detroit, like you saw in that Detroit game, that definitely works for him. But I think, if the game does get out of hand or, they got to keep going back and forth, Fan can get his looks. San Francisco is very injured right now on defense as well. I mean, they still have Greenlaw out, Hargrave. But I think most importantly, Hufanga, their Pro Bowl safety is out as well, which, as we know, safeties definitely keep an eye on that tight end position. So, I mean, I think having their Pro Bowl safety out this week may give Fan a few more catches. So he's my cheapest play of the week.
Ethan, what do you think about all that, man?
I mean, it's tough with Noah Fant just because he gets so little targets. I mean, last 2 weeks, 2 and 3 targets. When you have JSN, you have Lockett, you have DK Metcalf, you have the run game. Noah Fant is a distant piece in this offense. So I think unless he scores a touchdown, he's probably not going to score you over 5 or 6 points. So that's why I don't love the call because I think you're hoping for a touchdown.
Yeah, you really do kind of need him to fall in the end zone with the lack of looks there. So I don't love the call either, but it's cheap and you gotta cut corners somewhere. So I didn't really. I'll just go on to mine next year, guys. I didn't really love a lot of the guys kind of in that mold. So rather than take a stab at a guy like a Noah Fant or a few other guys on that list I was looking at, I just went with the Seattle defense here for $3,800, and really because that's the one I could afford. But so I went with them. The defense will give up points, but they also get after the quarterback. They're averaging 3.4 sacks per game on the year, which is good for fifth in the NFL. And that checks out. I mean, this offseason, they went out and decided to go with the defensive-minded head coach of Mike McDonald. So, he's kind of bringing that Baltimore hard-nosed defensive, physical defense over to Seattle with them. And, San Francisco's offensive line, I think we kind of just have that knee-jerk reaction to think that it's really good, but they're actually ranked 13th, which is okay. It's not bad, middle of the pack, but this is not a top-tier unit that they've been in previous years. So I was okay with kind of cheaping out somewhere, going with the Seattle defense, and maybe if they hit a big play, they got a pick six or something, fumble recovery, maybe a special teams play that puts points on the board, then you're gonna like it, especially where it's only $3,800 out of your lineup.
Yeah, I mean, similar to your, I guess your contradiction of Fant like falling in the end zone. I think with Seattle, it is going to have to take like a special teams touchdown or some sort of a goofy maybe sack, fumble recovery or something to kind of really get you some good points or at least decent points. Because yeah, I mean, even if they get a few sacks, if Niners put up 30 of them, it's only like 3 or 4 points. So I do think you might need a big play on defense, which obviously with these Thursday night games can definitely happen too.
Purdy's pretty smart with the football, so I don't think you're getting a pick six from him. So I do think it's going to have to come on special teams or a fumble return. I don't like the call just because I think the Niners are going to roll offensively in this game. But I get it when you pay up for your captain, you got to kind of thread the needle on some of these players. So completely understandable. I think the Niners, like I said, are going to cover that -3.5 and are going to play well offensively. So that's the reason why I'm kind of off the boat when it comes to the Seattle defense.
Well, what boat are you getting on then this week?
So I am going with a price point of $5,400, which isn't as cheap as you guys, but I wanted a piece of the Seattle Seahawks receiving core. So at $5,400, I went with Tyler Lockett, and I think the Seattle Seahawks are going to be trailing the majority of this game, and I do think they're going to have to resort to throwing the ball maybe a little more than they would like to, and I think Tyler Lockett has been pretty solid the last couple of weeks. In the last 3 weeks, he went 5 for 61 on 9 targets, 4 for 75 on 6 targets, and 5 for 46 on 8 targets. So he's getting the targets. All it takes is for him is to break one long one for a touchdown, and it's massive towards your lineup. Like I said, I did want to get a piece of the Seattle Seahawks pass catchers because I do think Geno Smith and that Seattle offense has been very good this year. And I do think they have an opportunity to play well against the Niners because the Niners defense isn't blowing doors away by any means. So I thought for a price point of $5,400, he was the cheapest of all three of the Seattle receivers. So I thought I was happy to get him in my lineup.
Aaron, you on board?
Actually, I love that call, Ethan. I mean, if it was part of my logic with Fan, I didn't have enough budget to get Lockett, but yeah, I mean, San Francisco is in the bottom half of the league, covering the middle of the field. So, honestly, it's either you or me hitting, or I mean,
Yeah.
that's either tight end or slot position or something like that. So, I mean, Lockett, I think definitely has the advantage over Fant. Um, so yeah, I definitely really like the call if you have the budget there. I'm just hoping it's a Fant week.
Well, we'll see if Old Man Lockett can squeeze out one more good week for Ethan here as we close out our Thursday night show
Gonna
here.
crush.
That's what we'll see. We'll see. Fingers crossed. That's what we got here for you folks on our quick hitting Thursday night captains episode. Make sure you're hitting that subscribe button if you like what you hear. And until next time, folks, peace.